We are going to be looking at some creepy videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. So we definitely have quite a few things to talk about in today's video. For example, there were all these bunk beds belonging to children inside this New York apartment, and then we have people bringing up this very mysterious symbol that we used to draw as children. What is this symbol? The man in North Carolina who called 911 after encountering an entity has an update, but before we go ahead and get into any of that, I do want to go ahead and talk about this. In this first creepy video from Kate, what in the world was captured on this Super 8 that they discovered?
Alright, you guys, so I recently found all these old tapes in my basement, right? Luckily enough, this was with it too. Somehow it still turns on and works, right? Okay? I don't know what I just stumbled upon. I don't know if I should call somebody or like what I should do, but like I found something really, really weird. Like amongst like regular family like trips and whatever, I found this. So let me know what you guys think and like I don't know what to do. Yo, like what in
So yeah, I have absolutely no idea what's going on there, and I had to add the black and white to certain sections for obvious reasons. This eerily reminds me of that movie Sinister with Ethan Hawke. I took a look at this woman's page to see if she uploads other videos like this, and she does not. This is the very first time. Apparently she stumbled upon these Super 8s with this man lying on the floor with human fluids coming out of his head, this woman with what looks like human fluids around her mouth, and this very eerie rabbit. In this next creepy video from the paranormal chick, what in the world did this trucker capture on video? It looks like 4 orbs, but as you see him drive underneath these orbs, the rain stops hitting his window as if something's covering the skies. It's really weird.
We have some interesting footage coming out of Brazil, specifically from an over-the-road CDL driver. Around July 18th, 2024, his dash cam captures something truly outworldly. What appears to be these bright balls of light approaching him almost as if it's a head-on. At first you think it's a vehicle, then you quickly realize this is not a vehicle, and actually this is something from out of this world. Take a look at this footage, comment below, tell me what you think.
Oh, que porra é essa? Oh, que porra é essa?
So again, while it looks like 4 orbs just hovering there, it's just very weird how as this trucker is going beneath this object, all the rain just seems to stop hitting his windshield, as if it's something much bigger than just 4 orbs. In this next creepy video, I was actually tagged in this. Multiple people have reported hearing very strange, what they are saying, demonic noises at the Cleveland airport. And this is coming around the same time, or I believe the same day, as all these drones were spotted over in Denmark, which basically shut down their airport.
Am I that tired, or is the airport really making this weird noise?
stay?
Oh, it was like on Thursday.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like some sort of growling. Whatever that happens to be, even if it's a prank, I would not be there too long at that airport. But like I said, it was also reported yesterday that these massive drones, about 2 or 3 of them, shut down the Denmark airport. Reading this article from CBS News, the police that are investigating this further have stated the number, the size, the flight patterns, the time over the airport, all this together indicates that it is a capable actor. Which capable actor? Apparently they do not know. But so far, even though this remains a mystery, they are blaming Russia. Now, supposedly, this is what one of the drones looked like that was flying around the airport. As of right now, the police are believing that these drones are coming from or around the waters and making their way to the airport. Some of the passengers stated that they saw the drones doing some very weird things, going invisible, changing size, changing their form, all types of different things. But like I said in one of my last videos, after China shot at that orb, about a week after the United States military released video footage of them shooting at an orb, we're going to hear more and more countries dealing with UFOs, unidentified drones, and so forth, because again, I truly believe it plays into that agenda. We're going to hear more and more countries dealing with this. In this next creepy video, these were captured flying in the skies above Brooklyn on September 15th. Now, while some are saying that they may be trash bags, and while I believe they look like those black flying things, they do something very bizarre towards the end of this video.
All right, so it starts off here. You see these 2 black things kind of blowing in the wind. Almost looks like they could be like trash bags or popped up balloons just catching a breeze. But this was filmed in Brooklyn at 1:14 in the morning, just the other day. And if you notice, they disappear. And I want you to pay attention because when they disappear, I turned off the saturation so you can actually see. You can see specifically there's like electricity going on in the background from where they were. So it's like little, I don't know if you guys can see it, if it's high quality on your camera. I can see it perfectly. But yeah, so these black sheets, they disappear. I turned the contrast back on just to see if we could see it any better. You can see them kind of popping around there. But yeah, this was seen, those sheets, those black trash bag looking things completely disappeared. And then what was left were these sparkling stars. I think it's camouflage.
This next story is very crazy and very suspicious. This individual, he goes to work Monday morning, he returns back home, and he cannot enter his apartment. The locks were changed. Now, according to him, his rent was paid, so he has absolutely no idea why he cannot enter his apartment. So he enters in another way through the window, and come to find out, all his belongings are put outside, but everything inside his apartment was replaced with children's bunk beds.
Right. Somebody tagged somebody. This is bunk beds for children. Look at this.
Bunk beds.
And they dirty. And they dirty. And they dirty beds.
Yo.
And then there's beds downstairs in the lobby still. It's bed. Look, it's stinking.
Nobody know what the fuck. It really do stink. It stinks.
With that that bunk in there, it stinks. It stinks. The bed stinks.
Look at the damn pillow.
I'm pretty sure it's bed bugs in these. Like, this is gross.
It's supposed to be white.
This is nasty.
And apparently these are the men he encountered while he was in the apartment as this was going on.
I come home, as soon as I open the door, I looked them in the face like this. And they looked at me like. So I said, why did I come home from work and my locks was changed, thinking it was my landlord coming to tell me why my locks was changed? No, it's 2 Jewish strangers with a brown box full of black bags looking for Abraham to open the door. So I'm like, they looking around my crib. So I'm like, what the f are you looking for? Who are you looking for? He said, oh no, sorry, we got the wrong door, and walked off. They sped the down the hallway.
York definitely has some very interesting situations when it comes to stuff like this. Remember the whole tunnel situation that happened last year where there was a mattress taken out and it had a stain on it. But not just that, when cameras went down these tunnels, there was all these children things down in these tunnels, and they try to say that no, we did not see any high chairs, strollers, things like that, but we actually saw them on camera. As of right now, there are no more updates when it comes to this individual, but if there are, I'll definitely let you all know. This next creepy video comes from Anna Bash, and she believes that there may be trafficking going on Etsy, and she has a very, very strong argument.
I investigated this tip about kids being sold on Etsy through art, and what I found was insane. First of all, you have this digital art. Title is Junior Boys Outiller. Outiller literally means it's gone. Junior Boys missing, essentially, right? You have a digital download worth $50,000. Digital file, PDF, how fitting. And you think, oh, maybe the seller is from Nigeria and their currency, it's equivalent to like $16. No. Or multiple digital downloads of junior boys and junior girls specifically. And it specifically says in the dollar sign, 500K, 250K. Looks like that's for multiple children. There's a bunch of code, like words in the description. Very odd. He has also normal prices, like he definitely knows the currency. He understands this is in dollars. This is not in his currency. The Naira, it's called. He has this billionaire digital download as well, which struck me as the most insane thing on there. Senior gays, billionaires. And then the description. If you have a billionaire brain, you will also have a billionaire bank account. That's asthmatic, aromatic. So we created billionaire brain. There's so much wild shit on this guy's profile. His Twitter account is even more sus. He's having like open conversations about the junior girls, plane tickets, money. All so weird. Oh my god. The more you know. What do you guys think? Like, am I reaching? I don't think so.
I mean, just look at this digital download. Junior girls, white woman, $30,000. Even though already the outrageous price for a digital download is a red flag, what's shown in the photo is something completely different. So yeah, there is something definitely going on here, and it's very sinister. In this next creepy video, when it involves us as kids, many people are still trying to figure out the mystery behind this S that a lot of us used to draw.
Picture this. You're in the 8th grade and it's 8 a.m. You're doing your work like normal. And you look over and your buddy is drawing this really cool S like this. And you go, well, where'd you learn that from? And he says, oh, I learned that from my dad, which he learned from his classmate. But no, when I looked it up, the only thing that I got was that it was passed down from children to children. And that's the only thing. It's part of 1990s culture somehow. And I don't know. Maybe somebody can inform me, but it's weird that nobody really knows where it came from.
And that is the very weird thing. I started drawing this S because I saw other kids drawing this S, but nobody knows the origins of this symbol. For a lot of people seeing this, it unlocked a childhood memory, so they went to different web forums to try to figure this out. And there are a lot of people saying that it could be a Stussy S. Reading this article from Vice.com, which talks about this mysterious symbol, they go on to say that pretty much every forum on the web mentions Stussy, the Californian surf streetwear company founded in the 80s. A lot of people seem convinced that the symbol was originally a Stussy logo, so they called Stussy. Emmy Coates, who has worked alongside Sean Stussy since 1985, has stated, "No, this is not an original Stussy logo. I personally get asked this a lot, but people have been drawing this S long before Stussy was established. People have just assumed it was Stussy, and it's sort of spread from there. It's actually quite amusing." And that's the thing. People are coming out and saying that they remember drawing this mysterious symbol since the 50s and the 60s. And this article continues to say that it seems the S has appeared throughout all of North America, South America, Europe, Russia, Asia, and Australia. Some people think it's a 90s thing, others reported seeing it as early as the 1960s. Some are even saying this might be the Superman logo, an older logo, or the Suzuki logo, but none of those S's look like this symbol right here. And again, it seems to be just kids drawing this mysterious symbol. I forgot all about it until I ran across multiple videos of people asking about this symbol they used to draw. Some people believe that this symbol might represent some sort of simulation, a simulation company, or some sort of spell we were all a part of, some sort of massive ritual. But as of right now, nobody has any concrete answers to this mysterious symbol a lot of us used to draw as kids where a lot of us used to learn just from other kids. In this next creepy video, this individual believes he captured a giant on a mountain in Mexico, and it really gives off Andrew Dawson vibes.
A TikTok account by the name of El Domador de Sumisas captures something really strange on top of a mountain in Mexico. What looks like a giant humanoid being moving on top of a mountain. This thing has to be at least 2 to 3 meters tall. If you take a look at the mountain and the trucks passing by as a reference for size, he captured 2 videos I'm going to show you guys. This is the first video. When this video was uploaded, internet users were baffled, but at the same time they weren't much convinced about it because it's not moving much. But then, El Domador de Sumisas uploaded another video, a complete video, and in this second video you can see the creature crouching, walking just like any human being would. The only difference is this thing is huge. It has to be around 2 to 3 meters tall if you pay attention to the trucks, cars, and the mountain as a reference for size. This is the video. Pay very much attention. Whatever this is going on here, it's I don't know, what the heck? Take a look at this.
Yo veo un gigante ahí arriba. ¿Qué será? Se mueve, se mueve.
Pay close attention, it's gonna start walking now. What the heck is going on here?
In this next creepy video, I had included a segment in one of my previous videos about how back in 2021, there was a 911 call placed. After this individual, he spotted this bloodied individual on the side of the road. He calls 911, but as he's on the phone with 911, whatever this thing happened to be on the side of the road jumps on the back of his truck, and this man really starts to panic. Now, this man later on gave an interview, and I'm going to go ahead and play the interview of what he encountered, what he saw. But first, I'm going to go ahead and play the 911 audio, and then I'll go ahead and play the clip of his interview. This video comes from Carolina Case Files on YouTube.
Tender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
What the?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
And I had my window down because the AC wasn't working the best. And as I was coming around, there's a massive right curve right there before you cross the Black River, and then after that you have the battlefield. So on that massive black curve, as I'm coming around, I had just started the curve, and I was about a third of the way through it, and I look over into the ditch on my right because I caught a quick glimpse of something, and as I take a further look, it looks like there's I'd say probably a 30-something-year-old man standing in that ditch wearing what looks like an old Civil War uniform, just covered head to toe in blood. And the uniform was torn as well. That threw me off because I didn't expect to see it at like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm calling 911 after I see him to report that, because for all I know, it could have just been a normal guy that was injured and needed emergency help. It looked like what had happened is he hit his head on something.
Okay.
And the blood was just pooling down over his face and torso.
Okay.
And well, as I was calling, everything seemed perfectly normal. Just quick phone call to 911, let them know, hey, there's a guy out here, and try to find somewhere safe to park so that way I can take them to him. Well, as you know from the 911 call, right as soon as I reported that, I already had my window up at that point. All of a sudden, I heard a massive bang on my truck, and my truck bounced down from the rear, like I was pulling a heavy trailer and I hit a pothole.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there going, what the hell was that? Which I'm pretty sure you heard me yell, what the hell? I turned on my my bed light, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and all I saw was this white, like snow white face right up against my rear windshield, like it was looking into my truck trying to see what it could see. It had shallow sunken eyes. It had no nose. Just think if you took skin and put it on a human skull and stretched it thin. Couldn't see any ears, just that. And immediately I just started screaming. I didn't realize until afterwards that I had said that's not human on the call, because it was just the first thing I started screaming, because I was terrified. I didn't have my firearm with me, nothing. All I had was a wood splitting axe. That's all I had. So, and my truck is loud as is, and it picks up speed fairly easily. Well, my truck at the time, it had a gas-powered 6-liter V8 Vortec on it, and it was a proper dual exhaust, hence why I had the window up, because that truck is nice and loud.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing in between like 55, 60 miles an hour when this happens, and I just stomped on the gas for a second. When I looked at the speedometer before I slammed on my brakes, I was doing maybe 80. And I slammed on those brakes with all my might, and I went from like 80 miles an hour down to like 35 in just like a couple of seconds. And all I see is this super scrawny long body just fly over my truck in a ball rolling. And as I then swerve to the left and get back in the travel lane, and I floor it. And as I'm swerving to the left, I see it stand up, and it is easily taller than that truck.
No way.
I'm 5'10". The truck is about 2 inches taller than I am. And this thing was easily like maybe 7 feet.
Wow.
And as I pass it, I look in my mirror and I see it bolt to the left into the woods, and it looked like I don't even know what the hell, because it it looked like somebody took a normal human and stretched them out, starting with the limbs. Wow. It, like, abnormally long legs and arms, and it just took off into the woods. And I just said, nope, I'm out of here. I'm not staying to figure out what this is. And there's a gas station all the way at the corner where the highway intersects. And I pulled into that gas station. I was doing like 90 all the way to that gas station because that was the only place with any light that I saw. Right. And I just stopped in that parking lot and waited like 10, 15 minutes for state troopers to show up.
Now, some people believe that he may have saw a rake, a pale cryptid that looks like a humanoid, but it's very possible he may have encountered a skinwalker or some sort of demon altogether that was masquerading as some sort of Civil War soldier.
We're about to see looks like a secret Appalachian witch coven caught on camera. One thing that's not talked about a whole lot, and a lot of people really don't know much about, is witches. I have a video for you today, allegedly taken somewhere in Appalachia, and you can clearly see what looks like a coven of witches walking to some kind of ritual or something. These mountains are very old, they're very mysterious, and for one reason or another, witches seem to flock here. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you've ever encountered a coven of witches, I want to know about it.
That video comes from the Paranormal Sleuth. Now, to me, they do not look like witches. I could be wrong, but they do remind me of those ritualists seen at the Bohemian Grove. This next creepy video comes from True Crime with Court. Now, this is a photo I have spoken about quite often on this channel, where you see this young individual. He passed away in a car accident, but you pretty much see his face as a ghost in this photo. But she does an amazing breakdown when it comes to the backstory of this photo and everything else involved.
What you're looking at is hands down one of the most unsettling, disturbing, and also most debated images ever taken. This photo was taken just moments after a violent car accident in 1984 that left one teenager dead on impact. His neck snapped as his car spun out of control and hit a tree. And as usual, when police arrived, they pulled out a camera and started documenting the scene. Back then, the officer was using a film camera, and when he had the film developed, this image stood out and honestly really scared him. In the photo, you can see what appears to be a ghostly face, frozen in terror, hovering above the crushed car. It's very unsettling, distorted, and it looks like their mouth is wide open in an agonizing scream. This is creepy, yes, but that's not what really scared him. What creeped him out was that this face eerily resembled the teenager who died in the car crash. And at the time this photo was taken, he was already dead and had been for some time. But this image looks identical to him. Some think this photo caught his ghost or soul, confused and shocked, leaving his body. Others think it was a simple camera anomaly like a double exposure. All I know is that this photo became known as the Screaming Spirit, and it is an extremely unsettling story, so let's talk about it. This is John Bulwar. He was 16 years old when he died in a sudden and violent car accident. At around 7:15 p.m. on December 27th, 1984, he and 3 of his friends took off to go to a Prince concert. They were all super excited for this and just being typical teenagers, but they never made it to the concert. As they were driving down Edgecombe Road in St. Paul, Minnesota, the night air suddenly grew really foggy. The driver made their way around a curve on this remote road going about 40 miles per hour, but at some point they lost control of the car and spun out, violently crashing head-on into a tree. John, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, died on impact as his neck snapped, but his 3 friends managed to escape the wreckage with only minor injuries. Within minutes, a couple of officers with the St. Paul PD were on the scene, who at first glance saw 3 teenagers standing outside of the crushed car. It was 2 16-year-old boys and 1 15-year-old girl who seemed okay, but they were really scared for their friend John, who was still inside the car and not moving. When Officer Brian Coyle looked inside the car, he saw John wedged under the dashboard on the passenger side. He had no visible injuries other than a little bit of blood coming from his nose, and Officer Coyle said it kind of just looked like he was sleeping. But sadly, John suffered a severe broken neck as the car slammed into the tree, and he died instantly. At the time of the crash, he'd been sitting with his back up against the passenger side door, not against the seat as one would typically sit. So once he assessed the other teenagers, Officer Coyle took out the department's 35mm film camera and began to process the scene. As standard practice, he documented the accident site from all different angles, and this also included photos of John's body. Once he was finished, he went back to the police station, filed some paperwork, and turned in the roll of film to the technicians to be developed. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but a few days later, the technician called Officer Coyle and told him that he needed to show him something pretty urgently. When Officer Coyle got the photos back, this one sent chills up his spine, as it did for the technician. In the photo, which is clearly of the crumpled car, you can see a face looking down above it at about a 45-degree angle. This ghostly face looks frozen in terror, its mouth wide open in an agonizing, silent scream. And this is already pretty unsettling given the circumstances. But what's so eerie about this photo is that this screaming face mysteriously resembles John's face, who died instantly in the crash. He obviously wasn't outside of the vehicle, let alone above it, since he was already deceased at this point. So what the heck is this, and why does it look exactly like John? So Officer Coyle asked the technician what's going on in this photo, looking for any sort of explanation, but even the technician couldn't give him an answer. But this wasn't the only photo that was unsettling. The other photos that Officer Coyle took had lights streaming through it, and one photo of John at the accident site showed red beams of light coming out of his body. So according to Officer Coyle, he took these photos to several different photo shops in the area, and he asked numerous experts to analyze them, to try and offer some sort of explanation. But again, no one had any answers for him. Over the years, this unsettling photo has gone viral, and because of its unexplained creepy nature, it's become known as the Screaming Spirit. It's been the topic of major debate, and although we don't know what's really going on in the image, there are a few theories. Theory number one, which a lot of people believe, is that Officer Coyle caught John's soul leaving his body. Remember, these photos were taken just moments after he died, and some think that this is really John's face, that he's screaming and looks terrified because his soul was disoriented due to dying very suddenly, and because he was confused and trying to get help. Some psychics and mediums have weighed in on this photo and said that in many tragic deaths, the soul doesn't immediately realize that it has passed, and that John was surprised by his death and just trying to understand what just happened. Others say they can also see another object behind what appears to be John's face, and it resembles one of his old childhood dogs that had also passed away, which is also creepy. The only other theory, which many think is more logical, is that the photos were just the result of a camera anomaly. Since it was super dark out and had some reflections from nearby lampposts, they think the camera just malfunctioned. Cameras and photo development back then are known to obviously not be as good as today. Some think the Officer Coyle accidentally forgot to manually advance the film before documenting John's body, resulting in a double exposure. That maybe what we're looking at is actually another photo of John's real body that I guess just accidentally bled into another photo of the accident site. But if that was the case, the only question I have is why does it look like he's screaming? If he had already been dead and looked as if he was just sleeping, according to Officer Coyle, why did it now look like he was screaming in agonizing pain or terror? I guess that part doesn't really make sense to me. I feel like if it was a photo of his body that night at the scene, it wouldn't look like this. Going with this theory, some think that the camera was moved before the aperture closed, and that's why you have all of these lights and streaks in the image. This is a screenshot from an article by Skeptical Inquirer that I found to be really interesting. They go into detail about the background of photography and what likely caused these images to turn out this way, so pause to read if you'd like. But here's my issue with this theory that kind of makes me question it. Officer Coyle had the camera that he used to take these crime scene images with inspected for any damages, or really anything at all that would have caused this to happen. But the camera was perfectly fine. There were no technical faults or anything wrong with it at all. And Officer Coyle said that he thoroughly reviewed the accident site, and there were no physical objects in the way that could account for this apparition. In a later interview with Officer Coyle, he went on to say in regards to this ghostly face, quote, "The figure appeared to be in agony and had a distinct profile. There were some images on the pictures that definitely weren't there when I took the photos, and that I didn't have an explanation for. I just couldn't explain what it was." End quote. I don't know what to believe about this image other than the fact that it is incredibly unsettling. I mean, you can't deny that it definitely resembles John, which is so eerie. I came across this photo and story the other day, and I literally cannot stop thinking about it and what John went through, which must have been horrifying. It's something that to this day really has no explanation. In my mind, simply cannot comprehend that. But it's now been 41 years, and whatever happened when these photos were taken remains a mystery.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.